Ready. So,
Perfect.
what is going on, everybody? I'm here with my friend Jake Alexander on what it is the first, I want to say, show podcast for digital marketing for my brand, my agency. Everybody's been asking me to do it because I do have a personal podcast, but I figure everybody's wants to talk about Facebook and digital marketing, digital traffic, Google, all that stuff. So might as well start a show about it and add more to my agenda since I'm not busy enough as it is, but I like doing this kind of stuff and I like helping people out. And I get tons of questions all the time now, especially since I have the other show. So in my Facebook group, which I will link up to this as well. So this is going to be the first episode. The whole idea of this show, I'm going to bring in all the people that I know in the industry that are really good at what I do, digital marketing, entrepreneurship, businesses, everything that's business, not just digital marketing, because the people that I know, 90% of them started from the bottom, built their own empires up with, regular marketing, digital marketing, and just straight up, sales and hustle. I don't like to use the word hustle that much because it's been burnt out, but it's true, man. It takes a lot of work. So this is my friend Jake. Jake and I met a long time ago in Texas, Dallas, Texas, when the economy crashed and not my first business, but my first quote unquote real business went down and under when the economy crashed. And I just, I did a few things that were not smart at the time. And I decided to shut it down. And I got a job with a big corporate company until I figured out what I wanted to do next, because it was really bad at that time. That was in 2009. And that's how we met. He was one of my straight up bosses at the time. And I actually learned a lot from him. And now he has his own business and something he's been doing for a while. Let's get right into it, man. Jake, what's going on, bro?
Not much. How are you, man? Thanks for having me on the show. It's an honor to be the first quote unquote guest here. So
yeah, man. And I'm going to blow this up at some point. So let's start with the background, man. Why don't we, I know you, but why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you started, how you got to where you're at, what you're doing now, and then what you did to get there. And then, we'll fill in the gaps with that stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, like you said, you and I worked together at a major company. This was, I don't even know how many years ago now, but it's
a long time ago. It was like the 2000s. I don't remember.
And they say time flies. It really does. And the older I get, the faster things start happening. So that's pretty crazy.
That's true.
But, yeah, it was a Fortune 50 company. It's really interesting because, I was in management for 5 years when I was there, and I kind of took it for granted. All of the trainings that we got to go to and all the stuff they taught us about like delegation and just leadership and time management really is the stuff that I learned more back then that I didn't realize would help me in the future that I use today. That this is the kind of stuff that I couldn't live without,
You know what? That's a good point because, before that, I did have like shitty jobs growing up until I always had like a side business. I always had some type of side business. And
yeah, me too.
When that happened and I decided to go work for that company, I was just burnt out. I didn't know what to do. I was depressed. I lost a bunch of money. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I didn't want to start a business just to start a business right away, which I could have. I can always find a way to make money. I just wanted to chill. I just wanted, I just want to do my thing, get paid, even if it's not millions, and that's it. At the end of the day, it's done. And I don't want to deal with it.
Employee, check, clock in, clock out.
I was super burnout, super burnout because I started working my ass off when I was a kid. So, and it was good. But you know what? I didn't think I was going to get from that. At first, I was like, I had this like attitude. I was too good for this type of deal because of what I've done. But once I got in there and I got to know everyone that worked there, and I lucked out because I ended up working with a lot of awesome people that I'm still friends with to this day. But the other thing that I learned is that corporate structure that has helped me to this day, man. It was Mr. Miyagi on us too. It was like you didn't know that you needed it and you didn't know it was going to pay off later. But now that stuff, I use it every day, literally, I do too, man. I do too. I don't take it that super corporate to that point because I'm not a Fortune 50 company, but the structure is there, and I learned from that and the way they handle things and do things. Of course, a bunch of stuff I didn't agree with, but
right?
That's going to happen anywhere. But it surely helps. So
yeah, absolutely.
You were in management, so you were another level that I was at the point. I was just doing my thing, but
it was good.
Let's keep going with the story. So you were there, and then
well, and so kind of like you, I worked at my corporate job, and I always had side gigs. I always had other businesses that I did, and things like that. And it's probably a whole separate 2-hour episode or whatever of how I got into doing taxes as a side gig. But one year I met this company that was out in Dallas, Texas. They were actually the fastest growing tax preparation firm in the state of Texas. They had an in-house training program where they would bring you on, teach you enough to be dangerous, literally, teach you how to go, hassle your friends and family to be able to do a dozen or so tax returns on the side and just make a few extra bucks. I really just did it as something to keep me occupied. I always worked, and then I always had kind of my side businesses. And so I did it the first year, and it was interesting to me. I was always a numbers person. The numbers side of it really made sense. I always like putting together puzzles, kind of like when I was a sales manager back at the big company we worked for. My favorite thing to do was to like analyze the commission structure and figure out how to break it down and teach people how to maximize it and make the most money.
That was my biggest issue when I try to bring people on for sales. I was trying to figure out how to break down the commission structure and how to pay them because, as someone who's been in sales before, that was my biggest issue with companies that they don't want to pay you shit and they expect like all the money in the world, as I would say. So I think I have a soft spot for that, but at the same time, you can't make that salary too comfortable because you want them to perform, to make the big bucks. You know what I mean? Because you make it comfortable. There's not going to be that urgency. It's like, oh, I want to double, triple, quadruple my check type of deal, Yeah,
you want people that are motivated by commission, but have the work ethic to do things in a timely manner as well. So it's like a unique balance,
Yeah, for sure. So you went there, you were kicking ass with the company, and so what happened there? How you were doing the tax thing on the side? I remember that because you did a couple of friends.
Doing that as a side thing. I got to a point where the whole story kind of commingles into each other, but I got to a point where I didn't know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I knew that working there wasn't it. And so I really didn't have a plan. I kind of just quit, and I took a year off. I did some traveling, kind of did some soul searching, if you will, and just kind of figured it out. And it was around that time when the second year of tax season hit. And I wasn't even going to do taxes for the second year. It was kind of something I did. It was in the past, and I hadn't even really thought about it, to be honest. But the second season, all of the clients that I had gained the first year literally tracked me down. They're like, hey, I need you to do my taxes. Like, they wouldn't leave me alone. And so they came back as clients, plus referred me more, and something kind of clicked in my brain at that time. I was like, whoa, I've been in sales my whole life, and I've never sold something, quote unquote, where the people come knocking on my door. It was always the other way around, of like me beating them down to try to get them to buy whatever it was I was selling.
That's the best feeling in the world, man, when you're so good at what you do and you have busted your ass, and all of a sudden it's the other way around. Like, I don't have to go get clients come to me. I mean, obviously we do marketing and we try to get new clients and stuff like that, but I get someone referred by someone like every week at least.
Absolutely.
And it's cool,
That's the way to do it. Yeah, it's kind of a light bulb went off, and at that point is when I decided to get real serious about it. I got my license. Now I'm an enrolled agent, so I'm federally recognized by the IRS to represent any taxpayer on any tax matter to any IRS office anywhere in the United States. Started out on our own the third year, and now I guess this will be our fifth year. So my third year out on my own, fifth year in the industry altogether. And so now through, the power of technology and the internet, we've got over 150 clients in 7 different states, continuing to grow very, very rapidly. We not only do individual tax returns, we handle businesses where we do their monthly financial statements. We do quarterly reports, tax planning for partnerships with multiple entities and larger companies too. And so things are just continuing to get better and better. And it's pretty crazy. Like, through the power of the internet, we're able to work with clients all around the country,
I know, that's the best part. I've have clients, international clients, like not even the country, I mean, just stuff like this, a camera and a microphone, and it's like you can have a meeting, and then you have Skype, and then you have Zoom and email and all that stuff. It's like, now it's the time, man. Now it's the time. Like, if you have any quality that you're good at, you can monetize it somehow, and there's plenty for everyone. I know so many people in my digital space that do the same thing that I do, and it's like, I explain to people, well, isn't that saturated? it's not saturated. You know, in my world, you just got to learn how to steal that traffic and bring it to your own place, you know, to you. That's all you got to do. And that's when, you know, how good you are comes to it. And it takes a lot of work too. I mean, it's not only paid, you got to create, you know, what do you call it? Organic content as well, even though organic reach is kind of dead with Facebook, but you can, you know, micro produce it and then put it all over the place, which I'll probably do with this, and you'll be heard. But now, you didn't start with a big office right away. Obviously, this is a thing that people don't understand. People think that they only see the success. They don't see the grind to get there. They don't see the 5 years prior that it took you, you know, shit, I don't have enough cash flow. What am I going to do? Or like, oh, I can't drive my super awesome car anymore. I got to go down on that payment so I can use that money to pay for this. You know, like people don't think about that.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. It is because, people, you get a lot of, man, you're so lucky, or man, it looks like that panned out or that worked out for you. And it's like, no, I've been grinding every day. Like every penny that I've made over the past 5 years has gone into this. Every minute of every day I'm thinking about it or doing something to build it. And so, when it does get to a point where it's substantial, it is interesting people's perspective on that. But my first year in business, it's really funny because I just was looking at some numbers. Obviously, that's what we do. And just in January, I made more income than I did in all of 2016 combined.
Right.
So I don't know how I was able to even live on that amount of money, but you got to make it happen. I traded in my Beamer for a Kia. I worked my butt off during tax season, and then I had to take little odd jobs here and there outside of tax season until next January came around, which that's the majority of our income comes in the first quarter of the year, so.
Yeah, when I was building my stuff, man, I still tried to get side jobs every once in a while just to make money, because like every penny that I made was going back into it, back into it, back into it, back into it, because I was getting certain profit. I was breaking even or barely above even, and where I live at is not cheap, So it's like
down south.
Yeah, so and I'm married now, so I got to take care of her too, and
congrats.
She does with me. And luckily, she always like believed in me, and she was there, man. And it's not an easy thing to do. And I think the hardest thing that people don't understand, I think the biggest issue that we have nowadays, especially with social media and all that stuff, is that everyone tries to keep up with the Joneses. And I see it with certain like circle of friends that I have. It's like, they have established careers and they've been doing the same thing forever, but they're working for somebody else and they got to follow what they're told, and that's cool. And don't get me wrong, they make a lot of money, some of them, and that's their thing. But it's like, okay, what am I going to go out and buy today that I think it's going to bring me happiness, but it's just going to make me happy for a day or two, and then that's it. Like, I've done it, like the cars, the houses, and all that stuff. I'm like, I see some of my friends, I'm like, do you really need all that shit? Like,
No,
it's like,
I totally agree with you. And it's at our previous career, we did really well, and I was always one of the top compensated people in my position. And it's really funny, when I walked away from all that and left it, I was more happy I was more happy and more fulfilled the next few years, making less money than I had made since I was like 16 years old. But I was in pursuit of something that I knew was going to pay off long term. It's like that gave me way more fulfillment than those previous 10 years of making six figures plus per year, but not really know why I was doing it, and not really accomplishing anything. I was making great money, but I was spending more than I made, and I was in debt at the end of all of that,
Yeah, no, I did the exact same thing, man. And it's like, once you, and this is not for everyone. I mean, I can tell you, my wife has said to me, she's like, I could never do it. Like, she's like, the shit that you've been through, like mentally, like she could never handle it. It's like, it's a lot of stress, man. So, all right. So moving on. So you came to Tampa, Florida, and you were working in the business, assuming you were working at home at first. So how did you when were you sure to make the shift, per se, of like, okay, now I have enough money to open an office and start hiring people? Like, so obviously you didn't hire 10 people at the same time. I'm assuming you started with 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. I don't know how many you got, but so because people always ask that question, it's like, well, when do I make the move? Well, I mean, in my opinion, you make the move when you can pay their salary for a year and not worry about it. That's my answer,
Yeah.
So how did you do it?
So when I started, it was just me out of the house. I had a little 2-bedroom apartment. 1 bedroom was the office, and I slept in the other room. And we just got an office last July, so I haven't even been in an official office space for not even a year now. And so We have two people now. So we have Carol, who's over there. She's going to kill me because she hates being on camera. But so Carol's full-time. She works here in the Florida office. We have John, who works remotely. He's actually in Dallas, Texas. And so that's like kind of a tricky thing. So when I first brought on Carol, my thoughts were, okay, I don't know how I'm going to pay her, but I'm going to have to figure it out. And so it's kind of that like seesaw of it is scary, but when you kind of get a feeling, it was like, I knew that I'd wanted to start my own business for a long time. I knew that I was going to make it work. I didn't necessarily know how. And so I took the jump and I figured it out. And I kind of had that same feeling when it was time to hire people. I think when you get to a point where you feel like you're maxed out on what you can do, because my dream was never to, start a business and be working from 6 a.m. to midnight and doing all the work myself. It was to own a business. I want to own something that runs on itself and I can have a good quality of life to go with it too. So once I got to a point where I was working from like the minute that I woke up to the minute I went to bed, I was like, I have to hire somebody and I have to figure it out. And I think everyone's financials are different from, how your profit works with your company and when the time's going to be right. But when you get to a point when you feel like I guess when you're an entrepreneur, you always work too much, but when you feel like you're doing the technical side of whatever it is your business is too much, that's when you need to bring on somebody else to help you.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy working, all the time, but I really enjoy what I do. But I get what you're saying. I mean, there's times you need to step down and hand over things to other people. Like I started doing that, a few months ago. Like I can't handle it all. Like I know I suck at copywriting. And a lot of my stuff is marketing. And you have to know there's a certain way that you have to write ads, and there's a certain science behind the way you write an ad to make people click. There's a certain way you write the landing pages. And I mean, I have tools to do that, but I have people who do that for me as well. Mm-hmm. And I just knew I couldn't do it, man. So that's when you got to know your numbers. I mean, you deal with numbers all day. I was like, okay, well, how much is this going to cost me? I got to pay somebody to do this. So now I got to charge this. And I think that people are undervalued, like especially in my field with digital marketing and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I got this advice from one of the top guys that I know. His name is John Lover. And he was like, you need to stop talking to digital marketers. He said it to a bunch of us. He's like, well, we're like, why? He's like, because you guys talk about this 24/7 in your circles, and what seems to you super easy or second nature because you do it daily doesn't mean it's, 99% of the people don't know the shit that you do in our world. Yeah. And he was right, man. And that's when I started like valuing myself. I'm like, I can't, the amount of money I was charging for 5 people is the amount of money that I charge now for 1 client. But, it's higher quality work, because we're not spreading ourselves around, and it's super high quality, super concentrated. And then, people value your services. I remember starting out, I was like, I'll do it for free. Dude, people don't appreciate shit for free.
Because I'll do whatever. Yeah. Just let me have something to work on,
Yeah. At first you can do that, like a little trial or something like that, but you got to value yourself and you got to put, this is what I charge, and that's it, man.
We talk about that here in the office. When we first started, it was like, just we'll do whatever we can do. We'll take on your project. Let us figure it out, And you quickly get to a point where what helped me a lot was I set a benchmark for what I was willing to work for hourly. So for me to work on a project personally, like I charge X number of dollars per hour. So if there's something that needs to be done and I can pay someone else to do it for less than that, I should do that. Because then I can free myself up to go out and work on the business, go do business development activities or create systems or processes to make things run more efficiently. And it's going to help the overall business a lot more and benefit it a lot more long-term as well.
Yeah, what I did, the thing that I did in my business, like some people charge hourly and some people don't. But what happens is when you're doing the hourly thing, you're nickel and diming every move you make. In my business, a nickel and dime move can be just changing the text on a page or writing a different ad or changing the picture or like stuff like that. So what I did, I started, I was like, you know what? I'm going to charge this for this work, that work, this work, and that's it. And if we need to we need to edit, we need to change, we need to do whatever, we'll just do it. And that's it, because I hate the nickel and diming. I always hated being nickel and dime for anything. So it's like, this is what you're going to pay, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore, and that's it. And it's the monthly fee, and then we go. So
there you go.
Yeah, man, that's the way I do it. So, just because other people do a certain way doesn't mean you have to do it that way. You can do it your own way. So what have you been doing for, let's talk what I like, marketing. How you getting your name out there, man?
Dude, everything we do is digital marketing. So Facebook's huge for us. We have an Instagram page. We don't do too much on there, but that's really it. It's majority word of mouth and social media. So we have a newsletter, with like an email blast that goes out once a week. That's been pretty impactful too.
Yeah, the money's on the list. The money's on the list, man.
I'm learning more and more. That's why I wanted to talk to you, because I'm totally intrigued by this stuff.
Go ahead. That's why I have you here. Go ahead, ask anything, man. This is what this is for.
Yeah, I love it. We haven't even really got into the paid Facebook ads. I experimented with it a little bit, and I think I just don't know enough about it exactly. But we'll you could if you want to examine our stuff and give me some feedback and everything, I'd totally be open for that.
I would love to, man. But I'll give you a little golden nugget right now. This is what you need to do. So you're a local. Well,
we're nationwide, so
you're nationwide now. But to start to bring that ROI easily, I don't know what your budget is or anything like that. So I'm assuming, let's say, that way this works for other people that you're established, but for people who are starting out and are listening to this or watching. All right, if you're a local business, this is what you need to do. You're gonna go on Facebook under your business manager. Never boost. Never go to your personal page and boost a post. That's the worst thing you can do. So you're gonna go into the campaign side of things, on the business side of Facebook. And then what you're going to do, you're going to create an ad, and it's going to be a local ad. So depending on your business, I will make the local ratio. You can select the local ratio of the ad anywhere from 5 miles to 15 miles away from you. And it's going to be like a dot. You're going to drop a dot, and it's going to have like the circle on it. Right. And then you create the ad with a lead ad. You can run a lead ad, or you can create a sales funnel. That's a whole different, more complicated thing. But if you're starting out, just do a lead ad. That's all you need. And then a good offer to bring them through the door, what I call a bait. I don't know for you, for taxes, or I don't know, just whatever you can think of, like a discount,
free consultation.
Free consultations, like everybody does that. So you want to stand out. So do something like, offer some kind of credit or 2-for-1 or some other advice, something. You know this stuff. So use that. Do video. Video is super hot right now with Facebook. It's gonna get double the reach for the same price that a picture would. And do a lead ad, and then make sure the video for your stuff, I will make it 30 seconds max, and then just run it. And that's it, man. Don't even worry about interest. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Your stuff, anybody can use. It's taxes,
Yeah, everybody has to do it.
Just run it, man. And the leads will start coming in. Set up an email sequence on the back end, which you're already playing with that stuff. That way, when the lead comes in, they get an email right away. On the email, offer an extra bonus for them to call you and make the appointment. That way, you don't have to follow up with them. Make it a little bit easier. And then that's a super basic campaign right there to get people through the door. So, and you can run at a 5 to 15 mile ratio. You can probably start at between $5 and $10 a day.
What is worth it? So I've had people tell me, like, don't do $5 a day. You're just wasting your money. You have to do $50 to get anything. Is there truth to that, or really? Okay.
Okay, the only time you're gonna first of all, $50, you don't run $50 unless you know what you're doing, and it's very honed in audience, like a custom audience or a lookalike that you're doing. You can start testing open with 50, but you're gonna burn, like, if you're a local business, you're gonna burn through that budget. Again, you're doing 5 to 15 mile ratio. Your frequency is gonna shoot through the roof if you do 50, because there's only so many people around you.
Okay.
So you don't want people seeing your ad 2, 3, 4 times a day on their feed, because they're gonna block you, they're gonna hide you, or they're gonna unlike your page. Gotcha. You want to see in max a day. So you can actually check. You can check the daily. There's a part when you're creating the ad where you can actually check a button that says unique daily reach. What that does is shows the ad only once a day. So you're not risking showing the ad twice on the same day. Okay. I personally like showing it twice on the day, but I know how to control the numbers, and I can see the feed. I can read the numbers and see what's going on, so I can control it that way. But if you're starting out to play it safe, just do daily unique reach. If it's a small area, like 5 to 15 mile ratio, and then that will cover you. They see it once a day. And then, if the frequency drops below 1, then you can up the budget. People say, oh, you can only up the budget 10% every 24 hours or 25% every 24 hours. I
hear all these rules, and I am a numbers person, so I'm trying to analyze it. But is it, like, what is your advice? Is just go in there and mess around with it and see what works? Or is it like, is there a real science? Is there a real science to every
Facebook ad account? It's different. Just because I do something on mine that works and I tell you that works, it's not going to work on yours. It's crazy. I have like different accounts for the same page and they all act different depending on what I do. Gotcha. So when people sit there, it's like only do this or only do that. They're telling you because that's what happens on their account. And I've done stuff on my account that I tell my friend to do, you know, somebody that I know on their account, and it doesn't work for them. Okay. So before, you know, Facebook is getting pretty advanced when it comes to the algorithms and all that stuff. You know, when they're telling you can only up 10% of your budget every 24 hours, that was back in the day a few years ago, where if you fuck with a campaign, it destroyed it. It was done. Now you can edit on the go, and it'll edit, and it will relearn, and it will keep going again. It won't mess up the algorithm. But you never want to go too high, because the higher you go in budget, the less your returns are going to be, because it's not as honed in. So the more data that Facebook gathers, the more it learns, the pixel gets all that information, you're going to get better and better and better. And that's just the basic side of things. But I would start, if I was you on your area, I would start with 15-mile ratio, 15, $10 daily budget, and that's it, man. Just run it with a good lead conversion ad. Don't even worry about sales funnels or any of that stuff. Just set a lead conversions ad.
Yeah, we just got some professionally made videos done, and so I was wanting to experiment with that. That might be a good place to start and kind of see what kind of numbers we get and all that good stuff, you know?
Yeah, man, you're my boy. So just hit me up whenever you're ready. I'll take a look real quick for you, and then I'll help you out. It's not a big deal. It's super simple.
Perfect.
So.
All right. I love it.
I know you got an appointment, and I got stuff to do too. So, dude, thank you so much for being the first one. I didn't even have a name for the show yet, so I got to come up with a name for it. But
I love it. I love it.
Anyway, Jake Alexander with Alexander Financial in Tampa. You want to give numbers, emails, webpage?
Yeah, if anybody needs anything as far as tax and accounting, we'd love to help you out. My phone number here is 727-276-2315. Our website is www.alexander.financial. There's no .com at the end. It's just .financial. I know that's a little different. But that's it. Yeah. If anybody needs anything, feel free to reach out. Christian, always a pleasure. I enjoy seeing your success, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, man. Same here. Super happy for you. And thank you so much. I'm Christian with Lovrecich Media, and this is Jake with Alexander Financial. And see you guys later, man. I hope you enjoyed it. First show.